So today we're going to cover how to onboard your cleaners. And what do I mean by onboarding? It simply means adding cleaners to your cleaning company and helping them learn your systems, what's expected, how they sign into jobs, how they check in, check out, just generally what it's like to work with you. You're going to create onboarding documents. The most important thing to remember is that your cleaners are human beings, and as human beings, they have human needs. One of the biggest things about becoming a boss or becoming a manager of people is remembering you're dealing with people. A reason I say this, and I know this seems so obvious, like you're probably rolling your eyes being like, God, like no kidding, lady. But I can tell you how many people I coach within the cleaning company blueprint world where new business owners will try to do everything they can so that they never have to talk to their people. And if that's you, find someone who can have empathy and caring and talk to the new cleaners. That's what they need. Whether you do that via Zoom or phone or text doesn't really matter. The phone, I think, develops the best rapport in the beginning. Eventually, you can go for coffee. You can meet them on your front steps, as I do. I often meet them on the front steps of my house. But some of our cleaners I've actually never met in person, and I'm totally fine with that. We still have a great trusting relationship. And we do that because we talk on the phone and we're ourselves. Okay, so I never try to be anyone other than who I am. Same thing with this channel. This is who I am. So I set up that relationship from the get-go, which starts from the interview. Once they've passed their test clean, you've got their references, you've got their police check done. We have videos for every single one of these steps, by the way. Then we get into the congratulations, you've just been hired to work with Oak Bay Clean as an independent contractor. We're so excited to work with you. So then I create some simple documents. So there's a few things we need to go over. Number one, what types of cleans do we do? Now, for our company, we really focus on recurring clients. So that means bi-weekly cleans in residential homes. We also do weekly and monthly. So that's our bread and butter. It's 81% of our revenue. When you go to our website, and I'll show you that, you're going to be able to see exactly what's included in each type of clean. What we're going to do here is I'm just going to show you what it looks like from our website point of view. So here's our website, oakbayclean.com. By the way, we use ConvertLabs. That is our website, our template, our booking software, our scheduling of the cleaners, as well as how we accept payments from clients. So this is how we have online booking with transparent prices. If you want to check out ConvertLabs, it's just convertlabs.io/blueprint. There's a link below that gives you 30 days free. So that's what everything here is being run on. So here's our website. What I want to look at is our frequently asked questions. So my onboarding documents are going to take some of my frequently asked questions, but from a cleaner's point of view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to literally copy and paste what is a standard clean. So you can see here, we've got a standard clean, and then we've defined it as clients that have not had their home professionally cleaned within the last 30 days need to add a first-time clean. A standard clean is perfect for weekly, bi-weekly, and monthly. And then we go through and you can see exactly what we do. Some people will use a checklist format and they'll visually show what's included in a standard, a deep, and a move-in, move-out with a checklist, and that's fine. We don't, just because that's not really our kind of client. We're not interested in people that tick every box in terms of the clients. Fine with it for the cleaners. In fact, I'd love for them to just follow the checklist. But anyway, so I go through and I take all these things, I copy and paste, I put it into a new document saying, what is a standard clean? And then I do the same thing for what is a first-time clean, what's included, what's excluded. And then I have the move in, move out. So these are the three most common questions you're going to get from your cleaners. Do I do this when it's this type of clean? So just give them the answer ahead of time. And then there will be a section here, services we do not provide. This is really important that the cleaners know this. So this goes into the same document. And that's basically our first onboarding document. You can use Canva. It's just canva.com. It's free. It'll help you make it look pretty. You could also just use a simple Word document. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that you're communicating to the cleaners in a very easy way. Here's what you do for this kind of clean. Here's what you do for this kind of clean. And here's what you do for that kind of clean. And by the way, don't do these things. So we call it the Oak Bay Clean Independent Contractor Package. So here's ours. You can see that we have our About page, and we talk specifically about what we do and where we are. We only work with independent contractors. So with our model, we're not using the employee model. We only work with independent contractors. We use an online booking system to book cleaning services for clients that is instant, transparent, and easy to use. This is the edge. Okay, so this is what's new. Nobody else in our city has this kind of a system because they're not using ConvertLabs. So we're the only ones doing it. For the cleaners, it's like, oh my God, you use the best system in town. Great. And we assign jobs to our independent contractors based on their availability and desired area. And then we say if a client is unsatisfied with the cleaning job, the independent contractor will need to return and perform it again at no charge. This is important. We have an edge. We guarantee our cleans. So this is part of the onboarding. They need to know if you miss something, it's okay. You're human. You're allowed to make mistakes. I'm never going to yell at you, but you will go back and fix it. And chances are it's going to take 5 minutes. So it's usually something totally dumb, like they had to clean inside the fridge and they forgot the freezer. The freezer is part of the fridge, right? So that's happened a few times for some of our cleaners. And then they just kind of go, oh my God, I forgot the freezer. I'm so sorry. And they go back and they make it right. And then what do we give them? So we offer our independent contractors steady work. They will set up their own schedule based on when they are available. And that, again, is all done through ConvertLabs. They keep 100% of the tips. They're going to be matched with more clients. They're going to work independently as a contractor, and they're going to have great support from us. Our independent contractors are reliable, punctual, detail-oriented, customer service-oriented, passionate about doing a great job. This is really important that we explain how we pay. The model at Cleaning Company Blueprint is to pay the cleaners 60% and we take 40%. This values the cleaners at a higher level than they've ever been used to with other cleaning companies. They're used to getting paid by the hour. They're paid by the hour. It doesn't matter if they have 10 years experience or no experience. They're capped by their time. Whereas with this model, we really value more experienced cleaners who know what they're doing. And so we pay them 60% of the total job. If more than one person completes the job, then it's split evenly between those two. So if the customer uses a discount code, so occasionally we'll give a discount code as if it's a charity or a realtor we're working with, we'll give them a unique discount code. The cleaner still earns 60% of the total job. So after the discount has been applied. We also offer extras. So cleaning inside the oven, inside the fridge, interior windows, they still receive 60% of the total job. So even though all those things are added on, it is from the total. Now, this is what we ask of them. So criminal record check, signed agreement, copy of your government issued ID, which actually comes through their police check, their own cleaning supplies, and liability insurance. We have a whole other video on each of these things. So don't panic if this is your first time watching us. We do have other videos. You can click on those and we walk you through exactly how to do all this. What are the types of cleans? So just like I showed you before from our frequently asked questions, these are the 3 types of cleans that we do. And then here's our checklist. So this is really important for them. They want to be able to see, do I do this or do I do that? That's all this is. So it's very simple. And then again, here's the services we do not provide, exactly the same as what's on the website. And that is our basic orientation package. The next document that we need is our contract. This gets a little more complicated. Everyone always asks me for a copy of our contract. No, you can't have a copy of our contract. You need to make your own. Ideally, you hire a lawyer to help you write your contract. If you do want to hire a lawyer, you don't already have one. If you're in Canada, you can use goodlawyer.ca. They will, I believe the going rate is about $600 per contract. So it's just a flat fee. And then they'll assign you a lawyer based on what you need. And then you know exactly how much it's going to cost you. Okay, so I've used them before. They're fine. They didn't help me with this one. This is just a very basic independent contractor agreement. And I'm going to show you here. This is basically to explain to the cleaner, you cannot work for any of the clients we give you without working with our company. So if a client tries to pay you directly, the answer is no. And then we put in actual fees. So you'll see here, number 3, the contractor may pay an acquisition fee of $1,000 to Oak Bay Clean after 6 months of services if they want to work directly for the homeowner or client. So no cleaner has ever done this with us, by the way. So we've never had a cleaner go off and work on their own. Of course, we would never really know. A client could cancel and a cleaner could, of course, just start working for them without us. That is the number one fear that people have when they're first starting their cleaning companies. Like, why don't the cleaners just steal the clients from me? If you treat them right, they have no reason to ever do that. They actually really love having you in their corner because your job is to help them do their best job. You're managing the clients and their schedules and the payments. So from the cleaner's point of view, they have no reason to want to steal the clients. But this contract is really setting it up so that they can't. You can talk about no-shows as well. So 2 no-shows will result in termination of services. I've seen others where people have said, we'll dock $100 from your pay. I'm not sure how legal that is. That one's a little fuzzy. I would contact a lawyer for that. But basically, that is another concern that a lot of cleaning companies have, which is, what do I do when the cleaner doesn't show? Well, in my world, if a cleaner doesn't show, I'm not going to give them any more work. They're not reliable. It's as easy as that. I can find another cleaner that will show. These are things not to stress about. They're things you're going to be worried about in the very beginning, but you're going to iron out your system so that you get the best cleaners in your city. And one of the ways to do that is to have this simple contract. Now, the cleaner, in order to work with our company, they get the orientation package where we've gone over exactly what's expected of them, and they need to sign this contract and send it back to us. So we've done this just as a Word document. The cleaners aren't that tech savvy, so I accept a digital signature. It's fine. Reality is, I'm not going after my cleaners and suing them, but I do still have to have this in place. If I had all the money in the world, would I be hiring lawyers and suing my cleaners? That's just not who I am. I'm not interested in that. And then the final thing that you're going to do is help the cleaners know how to actually use the portal. So within ConvertLabs, the cleaners will sign in. They'll be able to see what available jobs, they'll be able to pick and choose which jobs they want that they're available for. So they'll click like accept job. And then they'll also need to mark on my way or running late. So the day of the job, they'll literally open up their phone, open up the browser, type, click the button, on my way. And then the client gets notified of that. Same thing if they hit running late. The client and us, we both get notified. So we always know what's going on. When they arrive at the job site, they check in. When they leave the job site, they check out. For onboarding, you need to actually explain that to them. For the first 2 or 3 months, you're going to be amazed how often you need to say, hey, remember to check in. Hey, remember to check out. Remember at the beginning of this video, I said the most important thing to remember is that they're humans. This is the part that will be annoying for you. I'll tell you that right now. They are going to forget. They're going to forget how to log into the portal. They're going to forget to not accept a job if they're not actually available. Okay, so this is the reality of running a cleaning company. Don't stress about it. This is your new job. And in all honesty, I can spend all day recording these YouTube videos, and the number of texts I need to send to my cleaners is very minimal because I'm only adding 1 to 2 cleaners a month, so that this time spent nurturing that relationship, making sure they're okay, they know how to check in, they know how to check out, they know to tell me as soon as they arrive, hey, heads up, this is a hoarder home. I need to know that. Right? And I also need to know that they're safe. So one of the things that I really reinforce is if you don't check in, I don't know that you're okay. I'll just hammer that in. I'll be like, hey, heads up, you've got to check in. Okay. And this is the kind of stuff you're just going to get used to doing. I really hope this helped you. Know that onboarding is probably the most important part of your job moving forward, in that to have a good, successful, happy company, holding those cleaners' hands at the beginning will save you so much time and money in the long run, because you end up having the best cleaners who are happy, they feel safe working with you. You are there to support them. If you like this, leave us a comment, leave us a question, subscribe, and we'll see you inside the community.